Hello, everyone. I'm Nancy Eigel-Miller. I'm the Executive Director of 1 in 5, and I'm so happy that Arlene Herman will be joining us this afternoon, and she will be talking about mindfulness, educating us about mindfulness. So Arlene is going to be speaking about how to befriend your body through mindfulness practices today.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm so glad to be here today and talk about this important topic. And just as a reminder, when you ask, well, what is mindfulness? Just as a reminder, it's being in the present moment with awareness, without judgment. And it's really important to learn how to be in the present moment so that you can begin to get the benefits of mindfulness, which improve your overall emotional and physical health. One of the ways to connect with being in the present moment is listening and befriending your body, because your body acts as a doorway to mindfulness. Unlike your mind, which concentrates so much on planning and worrying and being on autopilot, your body is always in the present moment. So bringing attention to it automatically brings you in the present. So the task is to turn your attention to your body and become aware of whatever sensations you may be experiencing. Some of those sensations can be pressure, tightness, vibrations, contractions, burning sensation, clenching, tension, even feeling butterflies in your stomach. Sensations might be pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. And you might ask, well, why is this important? Because these sensations are tied to what you're feeling emotionally, whether it's stress or grief or fear or anger. They're experienced in the body. And sometimes, and very often, you'll feel these sensations even before your mind tells you. So imagine having an exchange with someone and you're really feeling anger. And each of us has a different way to feel the anger. Some of it's clenching, some of it's in the stomach, some in the jaw. And when you feel that and you can pause, it gives you a chance to respond instead of react. So learning to listen to your sensations gives you that opportunity. And when I'm teaching this to groups, I always ask, does anybody in our group blush when they feel embarrassed or something emotional? And somebody always says yes. And I think that that's one of the clues that you can't hide from your body, because it tells you how you're feeling. And yet many of us are disconnected from our bodies. We use the body as though it were a machine, and we try to ignore it. James Joyce wrote about one of his characters this way: Mr. Duffy lived a little distance from his body. And I have another way to illustrate this. A grade school teacher asked what the students thought the purpose of his or her body was, and one response was, it's to carry around our heads. And that just gives you an idea of how we get so disconnected to their bodies. But even for those people who are connected to their bodies, they may have a love-hate relationship with it. They love it for letting them do certain things, but dislike it when it does things without their consent, like making noises, passing gas, growing too large, or refusing to act as they intend. There are many reasons for our negative experiences with our body. Some of those messages come from our parents when we're growing up, and some of it comes from the advertisers, and they're trying to sell everything. And the way they sell is through attractive body images, which sends a message. Boy, I don't look like that. There must be something wrong with me. And that begins to build that negative relationship. And as you age, it even gets compounded by losing the youthful appearances and qualities. Sometimes those messages of self-judgment arise as a critical voice in our head. We judge our weight. We judge how we appear in the mirror, our performance at the gym, our yoga class. And I'm sure if you practice these in the gym or yoga, you may look around and say, boy, I'm not doing that pose correct, or look how much better somebody else did. So any negative feelings you might have about your body can't change until you actually experience your body. And through mindfulness, you can develop a more positive experience with your body. When we put energy into actually experiencing our body, and we refuse to get caught up in the overlay of judgmental thinking, our whole view can change dramatically. And since your body carries you throughout life, don't you owe it to yourself to treat it well? You can relate to your body without that judgment, fear, competition, and you can bring mindfulness to it and learn to treat it with love and respect. According to self-compassion expert Kristen Neff, an important part of self-care is extending kindness and compassion to your body, appreciating its gifts rather than simply criticizing its shortcomings. What the body does is remarkable. It can walk and talk and sit up and reach for things and digest food. For many people. And for people that I've talked to in terms of disabilities, also talk about loving their bodies the way the body can do, no matter what the limitations. Our bodies are the vehicle that allow us to experience life. For many, they give the gift of sight, sound, taste, smell, and touch, thought, and feeling, and allows us to sleep and to sing and perhaps to dance. But usually we take our abilities for granted and don't appreciate what our bodies can do until we are injured or sick. And then we realize how nice it was when we could do those things. So before we convince ourselves that our bodies are too thin or too this or that, let's get in touch with how wonderful it is to have a body in the first place, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, or how it acts, especially around digestion. According to Jon Kabat-Zinn, we can befriend our body through mindfulness practices because it's not about fixing. It's about accepting the way things are and not acting in a judgmental way. It's this acceptance that can act as a catalyst for change. And through mindfulness, you can become more embodied by training your mind to attend to the sensations of your body. You can check in with your body more regularly as a matter of course, not just when you're injured. So mindfulness of the body is a matter of learning the skill and then practicing. And over time, you'll become more attuned. It will give you the freedom to pause and make changes. Because when you aren't aware of your body, you can be driven by the sensations and not have the freedom to pause. A quote I really like by Martha Graham is, "The body says what words cannot." Here are some tips to practice mindfulness by becoming aware of our body sensations. Be in touch with your breath and the feeling of the breath coming into your body and leaving the body. I want to say something about breath because breath work and mindfulness are so important. It's one of the sensations that reminds you how you're feeling because sometimes the breath speeds up, sometimes it slows down. And the one thing about breath, it's always with you. And it's the one thing that keeps on going as the ongoing sensation. Also become more aware of the internal and external cues or triggers associated with overeating, smoking, substance use. So what are we saying? I think each of us or many of us know when we feel like we've had too much of something. when it comes to food, perhaps drinking, perhaps smoking, because our body talks. And when you practice mindfulness, you say, I've had enough. I can feel the sensation, the message. And also, even though we aren't always aware of some of our emotions, like anger or joy, each one of them are fueled by physical sensation. So you want to be in touch with your body. One of the other ways, and many people like this practice, is walking meditation. Walking meditation is really one easy way to bring mindfulness into your daily life. It involves focusing closely on the physical experience of walking, not walking so fast that you're trying to get somewhere, but paying attention to the specific components of each step. With practice, an everyday action that you do automatically becomes an opportunity for greater focus and awareness. You can walk at any speed, but walking slowly or naturally is recommended. And when you know that your mind is wandering or lost in thinking, just bring it back to your breath and steps, and your mindful walking can be enjoyed anywhere. One of the stories I like to tell about this is I was in a park one day and my agenda was to go for a power walk. But this park is known for its beautiful flowers. It's known for nature. And I stopped and I said to myself, why am I even in this park walking when I could be anywhere if I'm not going to enjoy what's around me? And I stopped, and for those who remember John Denver, his song, You Fill Up My Senses, came to me. And the entire walk changed. It shifted. Enjoying the sensations of the wind, enjoying visually the beautiful blooms. And this is what walking meditation is. And you don't have to be in a park, because there's beautiful sights anywhere. If you stop and you look at the sky, you look at the cloud formation. So this is what mindfulness is about. It's about being in the present moment with awareness. And our teachers, when Nancy and we were coaching in the schools, and we would ask the teachers what one of their favorite practices that they did, and they said walking from their cars into the building mindfully. It seemed to set an example of how to go from one place to the next, transitioning so they were ready to enter the classroom. Other times they asked the kids to walk mindfully in the halls, just so they could transition better. So that's an example of a mindful practice you can do anytime. The more you do throughout the day, the greater the benefit. A helpful tool for practice is to use the acronym STOP. And this is what it represents. S. Remind yourself to stop whatever you're doing in this moment and pause. The mindful pause is so popular. Then T, take a noticeable breath. This reconnects you with your body. O, observe what is happening for you in this moment. What do you notice in your body? You can be aware of anything. Your posture, sensation, tension. And then P, proceed on with whatever you were doing before. So you can do this throughout the day. So remember, check in with your body regularly. When you are distracted or anxious or worried, the reminder is to come back to your body, and it will reconnect you with your thoughts. Through repeated practice, remembering to be mindful throughout the day can become a habit. And even short seconds of mindfulness can help relieve stress. So my suggestion is, even if you're driving, be sure to think about your hands on the steering wheel. If you're having an interaction with someone and you can feel those sensations of anger, take that breath and stop. There's a quote that I want to end with, a quote from the late Thich Nhat Hanh. He said, if you want to relax, the worry tightened muscles in your face. Let the half smile come into your face, because as the half smile appears, all the facial muscles begin to relax. And the longer the half smile is maintained, the better. It's the same smile you see on the face. And I always say as I end this in a class, let's all smile as we end this recording, and it will feel better whether you're by yourself or whether you're watching this. But let's end with a smile.